Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our very special Saturday night edition of United Rogue Rocket League. And really, this is about as close as it gets. We're halfway through the season, going into week number 5 of our 8-week regular season, and there's a cluster of 5 teams at the top of the Western Conference, all sitting with 5 wins. And this matchup is going to be between 2 of those teams, the Vancouver Wild taking on the Mexico City Venom, both teams sitting at 5-2. Pyre Squared on the desk, joined alongside me by Far Out. Far Out, I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup and very important matchup when it comes down to the second half of the season.
Yeah, it definitely is, Pi, because like you said, 2 teams, 5 wins, and both of these teams with 2 losses as well. One of them going to claw ahead tonight as they enter the back half of the season. The Vancouver Wild and the Mexico City Venom, both of these teams registering far more shots on the season than saves. This should be an exciting one. When 2 offensive powerhouses clash, only one of them is going to go forward. It's going to be exciting.
And realistically, it looks like Vancouver has chosen to go with their top lineup, who has played the majority of the games so far. Alkaline, Pooster, and Curls on behalf of the Wild, and Skinny Legend, Chiefs RL, and Kato RL on the side of Mexico City. Game 1 is underway, fresh 5 minutes on the clock, and Mexico City already looking to get things started off.
Yeah, it's a good offensive push. Now Skinny tries to get a touch on that one. Chiefs force a challenge as well. Now Skinny looking to clear one out. Kato's going to have to pick it up. Looks for Skinny on the sidewall, and his Chiefs stays with that ball. Unfortunately, does not get a touch. A little bit of ping pong pie in the first 30 seconds of these 2 teams spar at the halfway line.
Yeah, an interesting bout of possession, but you really saw 2 players on the same side wall for Mexico City. It didn't really lend to continuation of that possession at all. Now, Curls from their own backboard, trying to get something started for Vancouver. The first minute has come and gone, and realistically, Vancouver hasn't really been able to break out of their own half. Now, a long clear has come out to force the ball to the Mexico City corner, and Kato will deal with that one.
Yes, Pi, and as close as these 2 have been, another look at the net for Mexico City goes unanswered, and this one's actually going to be a return and breakaway for the Vancouver Wild. They'll be on the board first. The clear from Alkaline was just strong enough.
And I'm surprised because that was a great individual play by Kato to really buy a lot of time for Mexico City to really regain their shape. They didn't actually do anything with that time, and so far, bite the bullet for that as the clear comes right down the middle of the field and goes into the net. Now it's Vancouver with that 1-0 advantage, and we'll see if Mexico City is able to kind of garner anything else, if Kato may be able to pull anything else out of their bag of tricks. This ball sitting neutral at the midfield stripe before it's taken off by Skinny Legend, trying to launch one shot on to get it past 2. Chiefs is waiting for a ball that does not come through to the midfield, and eventually Pooster with limited boost is going to try and force things through for Vancouver.
Well, Pi, and I was about to mention here as we pass the formal forfeit point in game 1 that both of these teams, as close as they are, we'd only seen a couple kind of weak looks at the net from Mexico City. That's going to be another one, and they're going to actually put that one in off the hood of Chiefs to tie the game. Their first couple shots weren't very strong, of course, the second one resulting in a goal against them. But now it's Chiefs in position, and they'll tie this game up.
Great response from Mexico City, showing that they do indeed have a little bit of resilience in them. Off the ensuing kickoff, Skinny Legend actually collides with Pooster. Maintain the ball in the middle of the field. Kato going up will collide with Curls, and that 50 will drop straight down into the corner. Kato will grab that boost and actually takes the midfield boost away from Skinny Legend, which means that you have limited resources on this attack. Now Kato with a great controlled touch in the 6-yard box of the Vancouver Wild, and it's a long bout of possession that Vancouver is going to have to get desperate for a clear at some point.
And both these teams just a little bit messy, but still shutting down the offensive pushes when they need to. Now still Mexico City on the prowl, but Curls will try to take this one to the side, secures the boost for good measure as well. Unfortunately, though, doesn't have the touch. The ball will stay in the corner. Alkaline maybe didn't see their teammate take that boost, hoped to sit on it for another second or 2, but this one's at the net. Kato's gonna go in, and it's a go-ahead goal just into the back half of game 1, Pi, and the Mexico City Venom find a lead.
And after going down 1-0 early in this game, they clawed all the way back. Still plenty of time for Vancouver, but the defensive mistakes are going to have to get cleaned up if they want to find their way back into this game. Ensuing kickoff, Curls against Chiefs will go towards Pooster. Pooster's going to burn all of their boost trying to get a secondary touch. It's a good one. Alkaline with the shot will go off the crossbar. Curls with the follow-up, also too high. Pooster infield for Alkaline. They cannot make contact, and the attack breaks down for the Wild.
As that one goes out, it is Skinny and Kato to carry one out of the corner. Now Skinny up onto the backboard looking to defeat one, goes around one defender, curls there in tow. Unfortunately, Chiefs won't get a touch on the ball. Kato's in, that's third man. This one's gonna get cleared out to the side as the Mexico City Venom look to reset. Chiefs gets a touch, maybe not the one they'd wanted. Skinny was there, but unfortunately that one got hit away, and now Kato and Chiefs on the sidewall, full tanks of booster, at least 50% now. Shot goes wide, unfortunately, and that Vancouver Wild ball is going to go back into the half as they get their look at net. Alkaline, that one gets cleared wide. Chiefs, unfortunately, just a little late to that one. The Mexico City Venom, for their lead pie, they're starting to struggle a little bit. That one's just going to bounce off an offender in midfield, and the redirect, intentional or not, is another go-ahead goal, and a strong one for the Mexico City Venom.
You know, intentional or not, that is a crazy redirect all the way from midfield. There is no way the defense can even start to think about defending that. My goodness, with authority, the Mexico City Venom have taken a 2-goal lead, and it's really just been a byproduct of how well they've been able to defend. And really, the flashy plays have worked out so far for them, and their transition gameplay, we saw it, and we see it yet again as another shot will go just wide of that near post. Kato takes over. They've got all the space in the world to work with, and they'll get the flip reset over Booster. Is this Fettuccine League? Are you serious?
We'll pie every Mexico City player on the board, and Kato keeping that dodge in the pocket, shoots it darn near to the very, very center, top and bottom, left and right of that Vancouver Wild net. And the Mexico City Venom, they're starting to run away with game one.
Yeah, we talking. I was really alluding to the bag of tricks for Kato, and we kind of saw a little bit of the flash of what they could bring early in this game, and that one they're gonna try and want back, is that ends up being a little bit of a back pass that Kato's able to corral and take to their own corner. But I mean, it's just been a great display of individual effort so far from the Mexico City Venom. I mean, 2 goals for Kato, and really just defining the gameplay that we've seen so far. Vancouver trying to get physical on the back line. That may be able to prove fruitful as we move into the final 30 seconds of this game, but really with a 3-goal deficit, they may already be thinking about going next, and that one isn't going to do them any favors either.
Yeah, it's the hat trick for Kato here as we enter the very final few seconds, and the bump, like you mentioned, Pi, came in for the Vancouver Wild, but unfortunately the ensuing shot was just not so. The Vancouver Wild down bad to find a goal in game one.
And really, they had sent the house on their earlier offensive possession, so I really don't fault them for conceding in this manner. And really, now with a 4-goal lead, Mexico City can either sit on their laurels or maybe throw in a little bit more punishment as practice, but we'll see if they've got anything else left in the tank with the final 10 seconds to move forward throughout the rest of this series. Kato on defense, trying to burn about as much time as remaining in this game. Skinny Legend gonna have one more look at the net. The ball will touch the ground in Mexico City. After admittedly a little bit of a rocky start in this game, will actually go up 1-0 in this series.
Pi, it was, like you mentioned, unfortunately did not score the first goal, but Kato and Chiefs, with the assist plays coming forward, giving Kato the hat trick and putting the Mexico City Venom ahead 1. The Vancouver Wild, for their shot totals, Pi, I almost wanted to say they didn't look too inefficient for a while, but as their shots unfortunately started getting saved a bit more by the Mexico City Venom squad, they're going to have a bit harder task in game 2, because the Mexico City Venom, they're going to have a lot of momentum.
And I'll draw everybody's attention to the advanced statistics down at the bottom of that screen. 60% for both possession and for field domination on the side of Mexico City. Typically, you don't see anything really above 50, 55%. It's really more so very even between two evenly matched teams. And we kind of, I kind of saw that last night in a cast with Detroit and Jersey Noodle Cup series, where it was very unevenly tilted when one team got a little bit better of the other team in a particular game. And I think that's really indicative of what we saw. Mexico City, after conceding that first goal, they really didn't look back.
Yeah, Pi, the stats really speak for themselves on this season as well. Like you mentioned, both of these teams just clawing neck and neck for the first few moments of game 1 until the Venom started to pull ahead. Maybe it was that nice redirect in the midfield from Skinny Legend to put them on the board, and another go-ahead goal for the Mexico City Venom. But now the Vancouver Wild look to game 2. Booster's up for that one. It's going to get saved.
Ooh.
Following shot's going to bounce off the post, framework and out. Still loose in front of the net, and Alkaline's going to put that one in. The touch off the post, unfortunately, just the smallest touch that ever existed, but it's going to be Alkaline in position, and another lead here in game 2 in this series for the Vancouver Wild.
Oh, and when the mission is critical, your position is pivotal, and you really have to worry about that placement, putting it far left away from all of the defense. And I was worried for a second that they were going to get another unfortunate bounce off the woodwork like we saw in game number 1, where it was just 2 consecutive high shots off the crossbar. But they can't sit on their accomplishments yet, as Kato is going for another double tap off the backboard. Curls will be able to clear it away. Booster with no boost. Leaves it for Curls. Infield for Alkaline. It's 1 tap. They've got enough boost if they want to get a second, but Chiefs able to clear.
Chiefs clearing it up and following, gets an inverted touch. Booster on the line, can send it away for now, and Curls on the side while looking outward as the whole Vancouver Wild team looks to turn. Now Skinny Legend fakes one, gets it off the board. Kato for the save now as midfield. Chiefs looking to adjust his third man, gets a high one. Off the board, Kato decides to go, but then calls off instead as the Mexico City Venom start to knock on the door. 1 save already for the Vancouver Wild. They're not going to be wanting letting anything in their net too soon.
Yeah, and Vancouver was actually, like we said, in this position before in game number 1, but really I think what's doing them in so far is their inability to clear off their own backboard. There's nobody sitting high whenever those individual shots come through on the backboard. But I mean, if you just avoid playing defense entirely, you may end up winning the game and double the lead here for Vancouver.
You mentioned it, and it was the fake from Curls, guilty as sin, leaving that ball for Booster. And then the Vancouver Wild are going to get another goal to extend their lead as the Mexico City Venom try to hang on and at least get themselves on the board here in game 2. Things are starting to slip away.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Mexico City is able to recover. If they're so focused on individual play, are they going to live and die by that adaptation, or are they going to be able to kind of manufacture some sort of team play like we've seen out of the Vancouver Wild, infield passes, things of that nature? So we'll see how this game plays out, but Vancouver already sitting in a better spot than they were previously, and that one is going to be fortuitously wide as that was a double tap opportunity trying to come through. Chiefs again trying to force the ball, but Pooster have something to say about that. Good rotation so far from the Vancouver Wild defense. Next man up mentality working out very well.
Yeah, now Alkaline looks to clear this one out. It's going to go past Skinny Legend. Kato's going to have to rotate in. We've seen a lot of third man play from Chiefs RL, as well as defensive touches or saves from Skinny on the ball, but they're both going to have to take a page out of Kato's manuscript if they're going to want to put the Mexico City Venom on the board with these double taps. Alkaline now another clear out. Booster looking to bump the third man. Mexico City Venom starting to rotate a little more. We'll have to see if that benefits them, helps them get on the board. Kato in midfield just gets dunked. Skinny, another save, another backboard, another attempt to clear, but Alkaline is just already in the air. The Vancouver Wild are starting to advance and not letting off the gas.
Kato, they're going to have 1 touch after this ball bounces off the backboard. Skinny Legend cannot get a handle on that ball as it goes screaming off towards their own corner. Curls for Skinny Legend, intercepted by Alkaline at the midfield stripe. Skinny Legend did grab that midfield boost. They have full boost to work with. They get it past 2. It's going to bounce awkwardly back in the direction of Kato. Chiefs will take over, but that touch beats 2. Booster, they don't have any boost. Alkaline will have enough to work with, trying to force it mid. Curls is there. Fortunately for Mexico City, they're able to get a clearing touch and start an offensive counterattack of their own.
The outward touch as well from Chiefs. Kato unfortunately just couldn't reach it as a 2-go for the Vancouver Wild. The Mexico City Venom changing up their rotation, but it hasn't proved to be enough just yet as the Vancouver Wild remain clean. Touch from Skinny goes down off the frame and off the backboard as well as Curls clears it out. Now Chiefs on the sidewall, tank full of boost, takes a shot, but Booster in plenty of time to save that one. Now Kato looks for the infield pass. Unfortunately, no one there as Chiefs and Skinny Legend decide who's going to go first. And now Skinny Legend up in the air looking for a double tap. That one's going to go wide. Unfortunately, now Kato in as well looking for this midfield touch, but Curls, that's going to take that one as it looks for another chance to go in, and the Mexico City Venom will clear it away, trying to keep their hopes alive.
And as time is running out for Mexico City, I think they're going to have to start maybe foregoing the individual effort and maybe start trying to attack the net more directly. Kato leaves it on a platter for Chiefs, and that one will find its way into the back of the net. Sometimes you take what the caster's saying, you completely throw it out of the window. Kato with a great individual effort to dish that ball into the 6-yard box, is able to beat 2 defenders, and what do you know, Mexico City right back in this game.
And with that, the albatross around the Mexico City Venom's neck is gone. 43 seconds now remaining. Skinny Legend looking for a double tap. The defender missed, but unfortunately so did that player. And now the entire house sent for the Vancouver Wild, just afraid of letting another one in as this ball gets closer and closer to their net. Kato turning at midfield, gets a bit of a loose ball. Alkaline's up to try to steal it, and they will have to secure it now. Skinny Legend off the side into midfield, looks for another. Chiefs gonna go up as Skinny stays, but that one will be intercepted in mid-air by Curls. Now Kato up looking for a shot. Chiefs is still in the air, but that one will get shut down quickly by the Vancouver Wild. 10-second countdown now on screen. The Mexico City Venom are going to have to put this ball in.
Really interesting to see how desperate the defense gets when it's only a 1-goal margin, and Vancouver trying to dribble out the remainder of the clock. Mexico City can't get a car underneath it. Vancouver, in emphatic fashion, will even this series.
As we enter game 3, the Mexico City Venom are going to hope to have to do it with a broken heart and try to get back into this series. You can't say they're not putting a lot of shots on net. Both of these teams, at least 7 or 8 shots registered, but so much more defensive are the Mexico City Venom. Vancouver still able to get through. They're going to have to turn things around. This rotational change, while they started switching up their third man and trying to clear the ball out a bit more slowly and efficiently, didn't benefit them as much in game 2. They're only able to get 1 on the board.
It's interesting to see from the advanced statistic perspective. You'll look at it again and notice that the ball possession and field domination is strongly in favor of Mexico City, like we saw in game number 1. However, game number 2 yielded a completely different result. Vancouver was able to mitigate the chances that Mexico City was putting on the board, and really it seemed like Mexico City, I kind of alluded to it a little bit before, they were really trying to go for those individual flashy plays. And while I think they worked to great effect in game number 1, Vancouver kind of got their defense a little bit more in order. That backboard is still a very big problem, as it is wide open if Mexico City can take advantage of it. However, they weren't really able to do so in game number 2. And ultimately, I think that's what ended up costing them.
Yeah, I think we just have started to see Vancouver play a bit more of an efficient game, the way they were able to take control in game 2, only allowing one end. Of course, it was off the very few final seconds, but a bit of a commanding lead for them in game 2, and it's commanding performance and control of this series so far.
Yeah, and honestly, when we came into the series, I was expecting a little bit more of a balanced attack approach from Mexico City. It's really seemed like it's been Kato who's kind of taken the mantle upon themselves in order to get the offense going for Mexico City. On the other hand, for Vancouver, we knew where their top lineup was really ideally going to be, and so far I think that that's kind of fleshed out themselves in terms of how they've performed so far in this series. But back to an even footing. What was a best of 5 has now effectively become a best of 3 as we move into game number 3.
Pi, and you're right, you mentioned it too in your remarks that the Mexico City Venom just been looking for these flashy plays, when in reality what worked for them in game 1 was pass plays. Chiefs with the playmaker medal on Kato, who was able to get the hat trick, but now this one's just going to go wide and sent away. Kato's going to put it in, maybe off a defender. That play happened relatively quickly. The shot from Chiefs just gonna get saved into another shooter, and it's gonna go in for the Mexico City Venom, a lead they're gonna be happy to have. They're just gonna have to try to maintain it now.
Yeah, just unfortunately a Fields backflip man on behalf of the Vancouver Wild defense. And this is really a situation which we haven't really seen before. Mexico City with the opening goal. We'll see how that ends up playing into the hands of Vancouver. And doesn't look like Vancouver's too phased by that.
Yeah, unfortunately, their lead just so short-lived. Curls up there asking, who's afraid of little old me? Pinches that one into the net and answers right back for the Vancouver Wild.
And the leading scorer for Vancouver showing up big in this series so far. And what better way to do it than effective individual play of your own? I mean, it's a simple ground pinch, but it can still be as flashy as you like. And Curls trying to get another one to go through on the board. Skinny Legend having to dive across the face of the net in order to take that one away. And Curls acting like a blocker, not actually making any contact, I don't think, but phasing the defense just enough to open up the back door for Alkaline to take advantage.
Yeah, here in game 3, it's Curls fresh out the slammer for the Vancouver Wild. And their teammate Alkaline puts in their first. Another lead for the Vancouver Wild here in game 3.
This very much a situation we've seen before. A 1-goal lead for Vancouver. We'll see if this result will match what we've had in game number 2, or if scoring isn't done just yet. I have to imagine that Mexico City will have something to say about that, as the ball will bounce rather fortuitously for Vancouver as they try to clear their own zone. Skinny Legend underneath the ball as it bounces onto their car. 50s against 1, try to get it past 2, unable to do so in Vancouver on the counterattack.
Now Kato picks this one up in the corner, looks to dribble it out, fakes out 1, fakes out 2, just has Booster now to deal with, tries to go low, but Booster will win the 50-50, and now slow out of the corner, looks for another one, it's gonna go wide, now curls. That one's downfield, 2 players up for the Wild, neither one can get a car on the ball. Now Chiefs foundering in net, but the Mexico City Venom will escape unscathed for now. Kato tries to carry this one out, takes a 50 mid-air, another player with them as well. No, Alkaline's gonna collect. Doesn't get the touch they'd hoped for. Is this one still loose in the half? Now Alkaline cheating up off the Mexico City Venom backboard. Is anyone there to shoot it? No, it's going to go off Kato. As the Vancouver Wild look to extend this lead, the Mexico City Venom they're starting to tighten up this defense.
Oh my goodness. And these are the situations you want if you're Vancouver. You want the third man for Mexico City diving in, pop the ball over their head and get the ball down the field. And you had 2 players waiting for that very ball to come onto the hood of their car, and they were not able to make contact. 2 consecutive possessions, they got exactly what they wanted. 2 consecutive possessions, they come away empty, but they still hold this 1-goal lead as we pass through halftime.
Yeah, the Mexico City Venom just going to have to find that alchemy, find that chemistry to get a little bit closer to these touches and work together to put them in. Chiefs secures that boost as Kato cheats up a little too far, maybe looking for a bump. Now Legend out to Kato, gets a touch, still in the air here. Kato's got boost, looks to go infield, but a little too close to the wall as both remaining Mexico City Venom players are in tow. Now Chiefs on that wall with nothing as Legend goes to. Chiefs is going to say so long, Legend. Now Kato at the midfield. Chiefs looking to turn, isn't sure whether or not they should go. The Legend able to wrap in time to clear the Mexico City Venom out of danger once more.
And that one's going to be a giveaway. 2 players had committed for Vancouver. They will rotate back in time, and that demolition does wonders to help stall the attack of Mexico City. Pooster goes over 1, actually ends up going over the ball instead. Kato doesn't make contact with their second attempt. Curls will run through, collect that corner boost, take it away from the Mexico City side. Pooster with a shot after Alkaline ran some interference on the back line, but now Skinny Legend trying to break out and get away. Race to the boost on the opposite corner. They actually grabbed it, but they gave their car for it. They'll be on the respawn screen with the ball flying right at their head.
And we've been starting to see the Mexico City Venom take a page out of Vancouver's book. These defensive saves doubling as shots on net. Unfortunately, another goal that could have extended the Vancouver Wild lead and maybe secured the series bounces off the Mexico City Venom framework once again. And now the Mexico City Venom just continuing to try to clear this ball out. Vancouver cannot find a dagger in this game 3.
Oh no, and both players were up for that ball. Kato trying to drop it down, but somehow Vancouver gets away with it. Mexico City's got to be asking themselves, what more could we possibly do? We get double commits on the back end, and somehow still Vancouver is able to keep the ball out of their net. Curls gets a demolition, trying to open things up in the midfield. Gets another demolition off of the respawn. Alkaline with Pooster in tow will force it in. 2-goal lead now in the final 30 seconds for Vancouver.
And that might have just been the dagger. That demolition sending Legend back to Fortnite, possibly, as the Vancouver Wild have possibly finished this series in their favor to go ahead 6-2 in the season.
Could very well be, but they've still got time if Mexico City want to do anything about it. Skinny Legend got a lot of boost, and they've got a lot of time to work with it. They'll get 1 touch towards the corner. Kato will take over, get a flip, trying to force it in. It's right on the 6-yard box, but Chiefs was well outside the 18. And now the final 5 seconds on the screen. The ball will go over Skinny Legend. Kato, not enough time, not enough boost, and not enough on the scoreboard at the end of the day. Vancouver, once this ball touches the ground, will be victors of game number 3. But entering 0-second time, Mexico City trying to get 1 more to go for the road, and that eventually that ball will in fact hit the turf.
Unfortunately, just not enough for the Mexico City Venom. And like we'd mentioned, so strong was their performance in game 1, although they dropped that 1 as well. We'd really seen strong plays coming together for those players in their passing attempts, but unfortunately it just was not so. The Mexico City Venom fall to the Vancouver Wild.
And you can really see, I think the tale of this game was the physicality that Vancouver exerted on the Mexico City defensive line. You can see 5 demos to just 1 on behalf of Mexico City. So really winning that battle in the trenches was the Wild, and it really kind of accelerated their offense just a little bit beyond what we have seen so far in this series. And then when we look at the advanced statistics once again at the bottom of your screen, this time it's Vancouver in full control of both possession and field domination. It looks like so far we've had one player perhaps disconnect from the lobby, so we'll keep talking as good casters do until we're able to resolve whatever internet issue it might be. Now Vancouver on the cusp of perhaps taking this series. They're now up 2-1 against Mexico City. And after really that offensive explosion that we saw in game number 1 from the Venom, they've kind of been a little quiet offensively, much more so than I think either of us might have expected.
Yeah, I think we definitely, if they want to try to get their way back in and force a game 5 in this series, we'll have to see them looking for each other a bit more. We've seen a lot of these players trying these infield pass plays to, clear the ball out of defense. Unfortunately, it's worked out a bit more for the Vancouver Wild. Maybe Mexico City is just playing third man a bit too close up the field, but the scoreboard said it all in game 1. It was those pass plays and the completed pass plays that were able to help Mexico City Venom find the back of the net.
Yeah, we'll see if they're going to be able to kind of piece things back together as we move into game number 4. And we're still waiting for somebody to rejoin the lobby. Eventually that will likely happen. And we're just getting word now that we have a substitute for Mexico City coming in. It's going to be Cyberplex on behalf of, you see here, the Chiefs. I believe it was Chiefs who was having internet issues. So Chiefs is out. Cyberplex comes in. And this is going to be interesting now in a must-win situation for Mexico City. They suddenly have a different dynamic that they have to deal with.
Absolutely, Pi. We'll have to see if Chiefs, with Chiefs out, we'll have to see if Cyberplex has the missing piece to this Mexico City puzzle, as Skinny Legend is already looking for bumps, and Kato as well, as the Mexico City Venom comes swinging out of the gates here into game 4. Skinny Legend stealing one corner boost as Booster looks to clear this one out. Will secure the half boost for good measure. Kato trying to leave that ball a defensive touch for a teammate, but unfortunately just a little bit of a miscommunication. The Mexico City Venom are going to have to tighten that up if they want to find the lead first here in game 4.
Man, Cyberplex with 12 goals in just 2 matches played. So ideally they would be able to slot in quite effectively on the offensive end, but coming in, I think, rather cold unless they were playing before this and already in the high pressure stake situation like we talked about with Mexico City. And another demolition comes through on the back end. Vancouver absolutely giving no time for Cyberplex to get their feet wet, and Alkaline will add to the pressure with the opening goal.
And a demo play as well, if I'm not mistaken, or a bump onto a goalie. The shot from Alkaline is hot, and they will start the scoring off for us here in game 4 as the Vancouver Wild on yet another lead, one they'll have to hold. They want to complete this series on top.
The one thing that Mexico City can take solace in is that they've got 4/5 of the game remaining in which to fight their way back. Cyberplex, 50s with Booster, takes it off the hood of Kato. Kato will race onto it. Try to get a touch past Alkaline, but it's too tough of a 50 as it comes off of the sidewall. Back pass finds the hood of Booster. Booster trying to get a sidewall double, will do so, and eventually they'll get taken off of the field by Kato. Instead, they were looking to rotate all the way through. Curls with the double backboard hit going off the crossbar, and now it's Mexico City trying to stretch the play the other way.
And the option for the Vancouver Wild to punish the slight over-rotation from Mexico City comes and goes, and now the Vancouver Wild gonna find one anyway. Unfortunately, it's not Cyberplex able to get back quick enough, but it's not for a lack of trying. The Mexico City Venom trying to stay on every ball with all their might.
And you can see right there at the bottom left corner of your screen, it was actually Alkaline taking that midfield boost away from Cyberplex, for forcing them to go all the way back to their own corner boost if they wanted to get any sort of resources. They grabbed that 100, and it left them a little bit too far out of the play in order to block that shot from going in. It's been a completely different Vancouver team that we've seen in the succeeding 3 games after the first game.
And now Mexico City on the offense. That's going to be a floater, and it's going to go in. Cyberplex, the Black Dog for Mexico City, will put them on the board in game 4, and there's plenty of time to make this lead up high.
And realistically, you couldn't ask for any better introduction than that. Cyberplex with a completely open net to shoot at, and thank goodness for that. They're going to be able to convert and get on the board their first goal of this series. Mexico City, they're right back in this game. It's now just a one-shot opportunity for the Venom to strike back. Kato trying to do exactly that. Will launch one shot. Alkaline dropping down for Pooster, gets it out of the way of Skinny Legend, and now it's a 2v1 opportunity potentially for Vancouver as they start tightening the grip. It's really come down to how much Vancouver wants to press offensively, because we've seen it go up and down the field so far in this game.
Yeah, they're just going to have to sneak the ball past. It's always easier said than done, but the Mexico City Venom tightening up their rotations, every player playing a part, getting a little bit more versatile in every touch they go for. Skinny Legend trying to set one up there as Kato rotates back for boost. Cyberplex turning in midfield. Doesn't get the touch they'd like. Kato's there. Looks for a follow-up and gets it. Stays on the wheels now. Looking for just one more, but Alkaline will clear it out and look to create another opportunity. Skinny Legend will dribble it to safety, secure the boost, and now look to clear out again. Over Pooster in midfield, or maybe just stopped into the ceiling. Curls up for the shot. Cyberplex there, but the save may not be enough. And the Vancouver Wild will punish, unfortunately. That's going to be a 3-1 lead.
And it's the overcommit at midfield that really does it in for Mexico City, leaving Cyberplex all by themselves to stare down the entire Vancouver offense. It's a 3v1, and really, if you manage to work your way out of that, I mean, props to you, tip your hat. And unfortunately for them, the defensive touch didn't exactly go where it needed to be, and really you're risking a lot if you take it across the face of your own net in that situation, so I don't really fault them for doing so. However, less than 2 minutes to go and a 2-goal deficit once again. It's Mexico City trying to find the net, and they will do just that as Skinny Legend climbs the ladder to knock it in.
By this touch from Skinny Legend, just unreal, saying, I'm going to get you back, dropping that one into the right corner and dunking a defender in the process. The Mexico City Venom, Pie, they're not done yet. Just over 100 seconds on the clock. They are keeping this lead to a minimum.
Yeah, they strike one, and then Mexico City finds a way to strike back. Pooster, the cherry pick opportunity, will clear the way for Curls, who's able to walk it into the front post. And just like that, these teams trading consecutive blows.
The demo play so strong, and Pooster unfortunately breaking their favorite toy, the Mexico City Venom defense. It's another go-ahead goal for the Vancouver Wild, and a two deficit lead, but there's still plenty of time on this clock.
Ensuing kickoff. Booster tried the same strategy that they had attempted to great success on the earlier kickoff. Unfortunately, they did not grab that quarter boost away from Mexico City, so they will have to rotate back towards their own back post. They collide with Skinny Legend as the ball is taken away by Alkaline, and they go down the field trying to fight it midfield, and eventually it's sought out by Kato. Get a flick over one. They do not get a follow-up touch, and Pooster trying to force things through the defense, but both Mexico City Venom defenders are there to stand in their way.
Pie, the Venom are playing with so much speed at this point, but unfortunately some double commits or miscommunications coming in. The third man just cheating or pushing a little too close. You see Skinny Legend there. While they get a successful dunk, they're trying not to play up too far. They will now be tasked with making a final save as that one bounces off the framework and up. Booster's touch is going to be strange as well, but it will not get into the net, unfortunately. Now the Skinny Legend just trying to chase down these defensive 50-50s as we near the 30-second warning. The Vancouver Wild just trying to hang on to their lead.
And the more time that ticks off this clock, the more desperate I think Mexico City is going to have to become. They're really spending too much of their own time into their own defensive third. In Vancouver, that's exactly where they'd like to keep this ball. Cyberplex off their backboard will wait there until the ball finds its way to them. Eventually, they will take this ball down around the near side wall. One last attempt with time remaining for Vancouver. It will find the way over Skinny Legend, and that ball on the ground will roll harmlessly to the Mexico City corner. Vancouver, after taking game number one right on the chin in an offensive explosion from Mexico City, it's instead the Wild who take the next 3 games to win this series.
Yeah, Pie, unfortunately, like you said, as though we saw a strong performance and a strong team performance from Mexico City, unfortunately, their solo play attempts may have just taken them too far away from each other, and unfortunately, they do fall to 5-3 in this season, with the Vancouver Wild advancing at 6-2.
And this time, the advanced statistics a little bit more split. between ball possession and field domination, Mexico City winning in terms of possession. But I think we saw from the run of play, Vancouver was spending a lot of time in the Mexico City end, and that's reflected in that 58% field domination down at the bottom left of your screen. In terms of overall demo production, I mean, it was kind of even this game. There was one situation where I thought that Mexico City kind of overdrove and over pursued those demo opportunities that weren't really conducive to whatever was going on offensively for them. They really struggled to get the ball outside of their own halfway line, and those demolitions really, I don't think, opened anything up. But congratulations to Vancouver, as we saw really steadfast and good mentality from them. As we said, really had it taken to them in game number 1, but then they recovered quite well and just took the next 3 games right away from Mexico City.
Yeah, Pi, was almost a lesson in momentum from the Vancouver Wild, the way they were able to turn things around. And we saw Mexico City adjusting their rotation as well. But unfortunately, the Mexico City Venom team that played in game 1 would be asking themselves, how did it end with falling in the next 3 games and the series to this Vancouver Wild team who just tightened up their offensive opportunities, chased down the challenges when they could, and maintained control of the other opposition.
Yeah, I think Mexico City is going to have a lot of tape that they're going to have to go back through and analyze, because after the massive output that they had in game number 1, where they tallied 5 goals, they only scored 3 goals throughout the remaining games of this series. So it really fell apart for them after that close game number 2. And then after that point, I think it really wasn't as close as maybe those score lines might have indicated, 2-goal games, what have you. I mean, it got a little bit dicey at times for Vancouver, but I think their defense was able to recover quite well from that game number 1. So with that being said, unfortunately, it appears that based off of situations outside of our control, that this will be the only game of the night on this stream. We had a couple scheduling or personnel difficulties, whatever you want to call it. So the second game will not be taking place as scheduled. So far out, appreciate you coming on the mic, and anything that you want to leave the viewers with before we head out for this evening.
No, Pi, I don't believe so. I think we'll be looking at some United Rogue action tomorrow night as well, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. And to wrap things up here, Vancouver will advance to 6-2 on the season, and they will move up as we close in on completing the second half of the season. Again, this is week 5 out of week 8. Mexico City will drop to 5-3 with their result tonight. And fortunately for them, they still have plenty of games left to play. And like we said in the Western Conference, they're right there with pretty much everybody else at the top of the standings. But like you said, that's going to do it for us tonight. We'll have even more Rocket League action for you tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And for all of us here at United Rogue, have a very safe evening. We'll see you next time.